Hello students, today we are going to discuss about lesson number 14, Introduction to Resources. In this lesson, you will be able to define the term goal, resources and management, different types of goals. You will also be able to classify resources as human and non-human. You will be able to suggest guidelines for using resources which are limited in nature. Then you will also be able to explain importance of management process in our day-to-day life and also identify and explain the various steps of management process such as planning, organizing, implementing and evaluating. Moving on to the next slide, what are goals? A goal is a target or a aim which we want to achieve in our life, and to fulfill these goals what we require are resources. As you can see, this little girl, she wants to be an artist. This boy, he wants to stand first in his class, and this man, he wants to buy a new car for his family. So, all these are our goals. Some of these goals can be attained in a day or in a month, and some may take a longer time, maybe a year. So, depending upon the duration in which we are able to achieve these goals may be termed as short term goals and long term goals. So, goals, these can be of two types such as short term goals and long term goals. Short term goal can be such as you want to buy grocery for your family, you want to reach your college on time, or completing your assignment. All these are our short term goals which requires very short period of time. Now, moving on to the long term goals, these goals can be buying a house for family, maybe buying a car, become a doctor or an engineer, settling family life, that is marrying, all these are our long term goals. So, to achieve all these goals, what we require are resources. For achieving all of these goals, buying a grocery, you will require your skills, your knowledge, money, all these resources are required for buying grocery. Similarly, if you have to reach college on time, you will be requiring resources, transport mode, your time, and for completing assignments, you might be requiring your books, notebooks, pen, paper, pencil, all such materials. For long term goals, buying a house, you will again require monetary resources, money. Buying a car, you will require again money, savings. To become a doctor, you need to work hard and study by using your knowledge and skills, getting good admission in good college. College is also a resource, and setting your family life. All these will also require resources. So, what you have? Resources. If I have this pen in my hand, this is a resource. This presentation which you are seeing, it is a resource. Your teacher which teaches you in your class is a resource. The laptop on which you are watching this presentation is again a resource. So, what you have, that is resources, are used to achieve what you want, that is our goals. They can be short term goals and they can be long term goals. And to reach from this stage to this stage, the management process helps you a lot. So, as you can see, if one wants to get a degree, one wants to complete higher education, that child might require a good instructor, good books, time, and his or her knowledge, skill, and many more. He also needs to study hard. If all these resources are available, but one is not able to use these resources, that person will not be able to achieve the degree. So, along with these resources, there are many more resources like hard work, your dedication towards studies, all these are required for achieving a degree. So, all these are resources to be successful in life. So, we can say that resources are basically means which are used by us for achieving our goals, or we can also say that these are the things which are needed by us in our day to day life for achieving or for reaching our goals. Now, these resources can be classified into two categories, human resources and non-human resources based on their nature. If you can see these resources, this is time, energy which we require to do our work, our knowledge of working in the kitchen, our skill of swimming, all these are human resources, whereas money or salary which we get, rent, etc., these are money resources. The house in which we live, these are our resources which we possess with us, but they are not within us. Like car, this is a material resource, or household equipments, and community facilities such as schools, hospitals, community parks, all these are non-human resources. So, we can say human resources are those resources which are being possessed by an individual within them. So, these resources cannot be shared or they cannot be transferred to the other person, whereas non-human resources, these resources they exist externally to an individual, but they can be possessed and utilized by them. So, these non-human resources we can share with other people, but human resources, they exist within us and they cannot be shared. So, why do we call these resources a resource? So, as I said, for achieving any goal, what we require are resources. So, they are useful to us for achieving our tasks. If we have money and we want to buy a car, it will be a resource for us for buying that car. But if that money is being possessed by your friend, so and you want to buy a car, so that money will not be a resource for you, that will be a resource for your friend. So, to be called as a resource, it has to be useful. Secondly, all resources are limited in nature. Limited means if we had plenty of resources around us, if we had plenty of electricity, plenty of petroleum, plenty of coal, so we don't need to manage those resources then. We could use them as and when we want. So, there was no need for managing. So, but all these resources are limited in quantity. Hence, we are moving towards, instead of buying electricity, instead of using electricity from non-renewable resources, we are moving towards using the electricity which is produced by the renewable resources such as solar light. Hence, the resources are limited in nature. All the resources are interrelated. So, like money, to buy money, to earn money, I need to work, and to work I am using my knowledge, my skill, my hard work. So, to earn money I will be requiring all these human resources to acquire a non-human resource. So, all the resources are interrelated to each other. Then the resources can also be alternatively used. If I have to reach my office and I do not have money, so there are various modes of communication which I can use. I can use my own car, I can use a public transport, and if my office is near, I may also opt for a bicycle or walk till my college or my office. So, depending upon how many resources and in what quantity I have them, I may opt for the mode of transport. If I have less money, I will go for maybe public transport, and if I am environment savvy person, if I care for my environment, again I am going to use a public transport. But people who have plenty of money, they also opt for private vehicles, which we should avoid. So, these resources can be alternatively used, and again they can be substituted. Substituted means if one resource is limited in quantity, we may substitute that resource with the resource which is available to us in abundance. So, these resources can be substituted, and all these characteristics define a resource, anything, any commodity as a resource. Now, there are various guidelines which help us in conserving our resources or using our resources in a very judicious manner. Moving on to this, first thing is we should not waste our resources. As I said, all these resources are available to us in limited quantity. They are not available to us in abundance, and hence we need to see that our acts, our activities in them, we do not waste these resources. As we know that water has become very scarce resource. So, we need to use it judiciously. Instead of taking a shower, maybe we can use a bucket and a mug for taking bath. So, we should not waste our resource. Second is we should conserve our resources. For example, we can opt for rainwater harvesting, for storing water in those places where water is not available in plenty. So, conserving resources. Then is try alternative ways of using resources. The resource which is not available to us in plenty may be replaced with some other resource. So, they can be alternatively used based on their availability to us. Then is we need to learn various ways to make the resources last longer. We need to learn ways to make resources last longer, and lastly, while conserving resources, we should make sure that we do not deprive others of these resources. It should not be that those people who are rich, they keep using all the resources and keep depriving others of those resources. So, we need to share those resources which are available to us with other people around us. So, now coming to management part, to use all these resources, management plays a very important role. So, management is basically organizing the resources which we have. It is a process of organizing what you have, that is the resources, in order to achieve or get what you want, that is our goals. So, management plays an important role in achieving our goals by managing our resources efficiently. Now, there are various steps which are involved in the process of management. Coming to steps of management, there are basically 4 steps of management which we have, and these steps are planning, organizing, implementing, and lastly evaluating. So, these are the 4 steps of management process, one leading to other. So, coming to the first step of management, that is planning. What we do in planning, we list down the various activities which needs to be performed by us. So, listing is done in planning, and sequencing. Sequencing is which task needs to be done first, which task needs to be done later on the basis of the priority, which resources to be used and which resources should be used later based on their availability. So, sequencing, listing and sequencing are 2 steps of planning process. Moving on to the next step of management, that is organizing. And what we do in organizing, we decide upon who will do what, who will do that task, when they do it, and how are they going to do it. So, these are the 3 question marks in the organizing process, that is what has to be done, when it has to be done, and how it has to be done. Then the third step is implementing. In implementing, what we do is we actually put the plan into action. So, whatever we have done in the step of planning and in the step of organizing, we are actually going to implement it in the implementing stage, that is actually doing our work. So, whatever planning you have done, however time or energy you have given in the step of organizing, it will not be successful until and unless you implement it. So, implementation is also very, very important. And the last step of the management process is evaluating. What we do in evaluating is, again, what went right and what went wrong, and how we can improve upon our work. So, in evaluating, what we do is we evaluate the whole process, so from planning, organizing to implementing, and we see if we were able to successfully implement our plan, if we were able to successfully delegate those tasks, if we were able to achieve our goal. So, we see whether we were successful or if we failed in any of the steps. So, it tells us what went right and what went wrong, and also suggests or helps us in improving in our tasks. So, this is the process of management, and in this you can see all these steps are interrelated to each other, one leading to other. Planning leads to organizing, organizing leads to implementation, and implementation leads to evaluation. And at each step, what we do is we make decisions. So, we are also going to discuss in brief the process of decision making. What exactly is decision making process? There are 5 steps which are involved in the process of decision making. In decision making process, first of all we define our task or we define our problem. Why are we planning? So, that is our problem. In the second step, what we do is we try to find out different alternatives for solving our problem. Then the third step is we are going to evaluate each alternative, seeing its pros and cons. And fourth step is selecting any one alternative for solving our problem based on its evaluation. And fifth is implementing it. And lastly, evaluation. So, if we take an example, like you have to pass in exam, you have to get good marks in exam, or maybe you have to come first in your exam. So, this is your, we can say this is your problem, or this is your task which you want to achieve, or defining problem. So, you want to come first in class. That's your problem, that's your goal you want to achieve. So, to come first in class, you can use various alternatives, like you have to study hard, you have to use library books, you can also use the resource material which is available online, maybe for example NIOS website you can refer, you can take tuitions, you can take guidance of your parents, and you can use some unfair means like cheating and all. Now you have to see, based on the resources which are available to you, which alternative you are going to use, which alternative you are going to put into action for achieving your goal of becoming, you know, first in class, or achieving your goal of getting good marks in your class. So if you have to select and you have to see the problems or the advantages associated with all these alternatives, you can study hard, that is in your hands. So maybe probably you can use this alternative. You can use library books if they are available to you. You can also visit NIOS website, the resource materials which are available to you. You can also take tuitions, but if money is a constraint, so probably maybe you might not be using this. Guidance, again parents' guidance is always available. So this is a wrong alternative. Maybe taking tuitions, it might, again if my monetary financial condition is not very good, so maybe this alternative will also not help me, and I am going to use other alternatives for achieving my goal. So all these are alternatives which are available to me for solving my problem. So after we have, so third step was evaluation of alternatives. So here we have evaluated each and every alternative in brief. Now selecting the alternatives. So I am going to select this first alternative, this second alternative, this third alternative, and this fifth alternative for achieving my goal of coming first in class. Then the fifth step is implementing. After I have selected these alternatives, I am going to actually put them into action, implementing them to achieve my goal of coming first in class. And lastly, evaluation. After I implemented them, whether I was able to achieve my goal, whether I came first in my class or I got first class degree. So that will depend on how efficiently I was able to use these alternatives. So evaluation helps in defining what went wrong and what went right, and how I can improve upon that. So all these steps of management are interrelated to each other, one leading to other. So this was all about what are the goals, that is short term goals and long term goals. These are the goals which we want to achieve in our life. And resources, what are resources? Human resources and non-human resources which are used by us for achieving these goals, and the process of management which helps us in efficiently using these resources for achieving our goals, that is the steps of management of planning, organizing, implementing and evaluating. All these steps helps us in better management of resources. That is all for today.